I don't know how you describe what a cinematographer's job is. Cinematography, well, it's simply telling stories with pictures, I suppose, but that's what people say, but I don't think it's quite that, really. I'm not sure it's so much about the picture as like where you put in the audience. In some way that's more important with actually what the frame looks like. I don't know, I can't describe it.
Cinema is an art, and art does not have a language. It is we, the people, who have divided it based on language. And yes, regional cinema is important for many reasons like retaining nativity, establishing a relatability, and other such factors. But in the end, it all boils down to the story and how effectively you visualize it. How do you convey a story that breaks all the language barriers? How does a filmmaker convey anything without a dialogue? You guessed it, by visual storytelling. Visual storytelling has the ability to effectively erase the lines that normally separate cinema by different demographics. When a director or a story writer write a script, they visualize the story. They have an idea about what to convey and how to convey it. It is a known fact that audience remember 20% of what they read, 10% of what they hear, but 80% of what they see. Who envisions a director's vision? What is the craft of narrating through visual storytelling called? Or better yet, who is the eye of the director? The cinematographer. We all know what a cinematographer's job is. It's anything but easy. It's all about understanding the director's vision and interpreting the screenplay into a visual form. About how he can visually portray the metaphors in the screenplay such that they convey things like emotions of the characters, philosophy behind the story, and essence of the narrative. Today, on The Alternate Reality, we try to explain the best way to guide an audience through visual storytelling. Composition and framing. Composition is about what you see, or basically what the camera sees. A good composition has the right focal elements wherever necessary and tends to attract the audience's attention. And framing refers to using the elements of a scene to create a frame. Composition has the ability to guide the audience into the story and convey the metaphors. Which props and scene elements should be emphasized upon? Whose perspective are we seeing through in the scene, and how much light should they be able to see? How do characters in a single frame differ from one another? What colors to pick and how harsh should the light be? How would the emotion of the scene change by changing these factors? Let's find out. Stanley Kubrick and Wes Anderson's films are notable examples of good composition and framing. They are widely known as genius filmmakers and the masters of film composition. They would use this type of composition to elicit a psychological reaction or to place the audience in an uncomfortable state. The frame is planned so well that these become the natural reactions of the audience while watching it. There are some major rules of composition that we evidently see in their films. Rule of thirds, symmetry, leading room and headroom, leading lines, and depth of field. Rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is the most fundamental rule of composition. It divides the frame into thirds horizontally and vertically so that the image is divided into 9 equal parts which create control points. Placing your main objects along or within these lines or at an intersection of these lines create a spectacular composition and make the frame look attractive. And of course, since rules are made to be broken, there are some ways to creatively break these rules too. Following these scenes from Stanley Kubrick and Wes Anderson movies, we can see clearly how they break the rules, but beautifully. Symmetry. Symmetry is an extremely impactful style of filmmaking which impacts imagery and evokes emotions. It can be characterized as the type of composition where two halves of the images are a mirror to each other. There are two types of symmetry, axial symmetry and translatory symmetry. Axial symmetry is simply called objects mirroring each other, whereas translatory symmetry is basically repetition of objects based on the formula 1 plus 1. The best thing about the symmetry visuals is when the subject is framed at the center and we as an audience have a deep and intense focus on the point of interest. Lead room and headroom. If a character is looking towards the left of the frame, then he should be placed at the right of the frame. That way the subject is now looking at an open space created beside him, making the frame very comfortable to view. The open space is called a lead room. And headroom is the space between the top of your subject's head and the top frame of the composition. You can make an extreme close-up of the subject's face. This will give an extremely intimate and very uncomfortable feel. So be very careful about what vibe you wish to create in the frame while deciding on a headroom. Leading lines. Leading lines allow you to grab your viewer's attention and take them on a visual journey by ultimately drawing them towards the point of interest that you want them to look at. Leading lines connect the foreground to the background of a scene. They help to create depth and dimensionality which draws the viewer into the image. Depth of field. It is the distance between the nearest and the farthest objects in your frame that are in focus. It allows a filmmaker to evoke several emotions visually. Let's see how it's blended in storytelling. There are two types of depth of field, shallow focus and deep focus. Shallow focus can be achieved by having a wider aperture, whereas a deep focus is normally achieved by choosing a smaller aperture. The level of the depth of field that you set for your frame allows a filmmaker to evoke different emotions ranging between loneliness, fear, doubt, insecurity, heightened senses, and anger. Color and lighting. The primary reason for using color and lighting in film might be obvious, to make the images colorful, dynamic, and beautiful. But there is a secondary reason that facilitates visual storytelling. The color palette and the light setting help a viewer to visually enhance the emotional aspect of a film and guide the viewer to respond to it viscerally. Light on specific objects or people helps to pull the viewer's focus on the intended spot, while lighting effects can transform the way people and objects appear in a scene. They help to set the mood and can create a substantial emotional impact. Some crucial uses of this in storytelling are to elicit psychological reactions, to draw focus to significant details, set the tone of the film, represent character traits, or to communicate the arc of the story.
That's the worst part.
Not all colors give exactly the same meaning each time. It depends on the emotion and the state of the character. Some classic example of using colors and lights in storytelling that we all know are from the films Awe, Puddupettai and Devdi. So let's use them as reference and study about color. Some major colors that tell the story are red, which emotes anger, passion and violence. In Puddupettai, red is used to show violence, the rage of Kokki Kumar's character. But in Awe and Devdi, red is used as a visual medium to convey the character's inner state. Pink emotes love, innocence and femininity. In this scene, pink sets the mood by showing the kind of relation Isha Rebba and Nithya Menon's characters share. Innocent, feminine, love. In Devdi, pink is used to represent the role of Chanda's character and her new independent way of living. Green emotes healing, unchanging nature, jealousy, envy. In the context of Puddupettai, the color shows a character arc. But in Devdi, it shows the state of mind of the protagonist. In Awe, the role of Parvati is shown by green, which represents unchanging nature. Blue emotes faith, spirituality, peace, calmness, confidence, conservatism, and depression. In Awe, blue is used for faith and spirituality. In Devdi, the same blue is used for showing Dev using drugs and him drifting away. In the end, the blue is used to show peace. Black and white emote evil and good. In Vikram Veda, these colors are used to tell which side of good or bad do the characters stand in, purely through the use of blacks and whites. Color is the most essential storytelling element, and how it's used affects how we experience both the characters and the entire message of the film itself. So depending on the color of light you use for your photos, you can control the emotion you want to depict in a scene. Softer, high quality light creates drama but adds more warmth to the shot. This indicates the tenderness and emotional aspects of the film. Harder and lower quality light is also dramatic, but the harsh shadows are edgier. It is used to draw attention and add a dramatic effect. But not everybody can know all of this. It takes many years of training and much more of experience to understand visual storytelling perfectly. This video is just to give you some insights into visual storytelling so that you can enhance your viewing experience and appreciate cinema better, irrespective of the region or language it belongs to. For more such interesting videos on cinema, please subscribe to our channel, The Alternate Reality. We put out interesting videos like these every week. So thank you and see you next week.